Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host, Logan Landers. And today, we're going to be talking about a very special game preview between the Michigan State and Ohio State. Now, y'all know I like to bring a few guests on every week. It changes from week to week. But I brought on someone that knows the game very well. My good buddy, Jeff Hunt. How's it going, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you having me on, Logan. I'm excited, and this is an anxious week for Ohio State fans. So you picked a good one.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Ohio State can actually take the field.
That's one.
I mean, we've seen just this season in general, whether it be college or the NFL, that teams are just having trouble getting on the gridiron every single week. Thankfully, we're nearing the end, but it's been up and down. It's been like a roller coaster.
It's trying for sure, especially for Buckeyes fans. This we had a lot of expectations going into this year, and still do. So this. It's as far as the football world, it's very trying.
I mean, especially with Ohio State, because they seem to be hit by it more than a little bit others. They have two games canceled. They had their game against Maryland canceled in November, and then they had their game last week against Illinois canceled. So they've just it's been a whirlwind for the Buckeye fans, I know, and I know you especially, you're ready to see them on the field against Michigan State. I know you got your fingers crossed, hoping that this game actually gets played. It's looking a little bit more like it, but we'll see as time tells. We still have a couple more days left until Saturday, so who knows?
I sure don't. It looks like we'll know. Like hopefully have a word like Thursday. They're shooting for Thursday. If they can practice, then that'll be a good thing. But until then, it's we're just all hoping, like you said, fingers crossed.
All right, let's do it, man. So we got a game preview here: Michigan State and Ohio State. A game that I know you've seen time and time again over the years. Right. So my first question to you, Jeff, is so when Ohio State finally takes the field, they are 4-0. They're the number 4 team right now in the AP top 25, and they're currently locked in for the college football playoff. So what are their keys to victory this Saturday? Are they going to be a little bit rusty? Do you see the offense being a little bit, behind, or the defense, or how do you think this game's going to shake out for the Buckeyes?
Well, we touched on the biggest question. We don't actually know who tested positive for the virus, which is a huge question. College football doesn't have to tell us, so we won't know until game day. And in the Big Ten, it's a 21-day mandate, so whoever it was is not playing. That's for sure. It doesn't matter who it was; they will not play probably the rest of the season. And so the fact of the matter is, if it's a key starter, which our number one key starter is Justin Fields, it's no secret. If it would happen that he's not there, then you got a whole different game. It's early December. We're going to go up there. The weather's probably not going to be great. I hear as of now, I don't think it's a horrible forecast, but still that levels the playing field. We've seen this before. And then say you're out a key starter, maybe an offensive lineman or something like that, and you get into a messy game, then that 23-point spread, starts getting closer and closer. And then you bring turnovers and accidents and freaking miracles into it. And I've seen it as an Ohio State fan. Michigan State's got us a few times in my lifetime in this exact position. So we do not take it lightly when we go to East Lansing. That's for sure. But the number one thing is they got to have the running game. They can win this game if they just go up and run the ball. I think we all know that. I don't think anybody on here watching this show thinks that Ohio State doesn't have more talent. Right. So if they go up there, focus on the run, get in and, get your victory and get out. Don't worry about the spread. They'll be fine. But, if the ball starts bouncing around, that's when things happen.
Yeah, that's something that I think a lot of people kind of forget about is the weather conditions, especially now that we're close to December, and especially, up north with Ohio and everything going on, or in Michigan as well. It's rough up there
right now. You would not want to play a football game, and it's a huge factor.
Right.
Really, our season's over by now. This is the latest that I've ever seen Ohio State play. Normally, we would have played Michigan Saturday and then on to the Big Ten championship in a dome. So this is new territory.
Yeah, it's a new territory for really everyone in this college football season.
Yeah.
So like you said, Ohio State, they do have a very good team, but I know there's a lot of people out there saying that they don't deserve that number 4 spot just based off the fact that they've had those 2 games canceled.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I see. When my rankings, when I put them out today, I actually have them 5th because of that. And the last time we saw them, they played Indiana. And the defense did get exposed. Now that game is a tale of two games. If you stop watching in the third quarter, Ohio State's the best team you ever saw. If you watch the whole game, you have some question marks. and they're they haven't played enough, and they haven't played enough quality of opponents to prove. They haven't been able to work in. They haven't been able to work through the new guys coming in. These big programs have new guys coming in constantly, and it takes a few games. I don't care if it's Clemson or Alabama. Alabama gave up a lot of yards early in the season. Right. You figure out where everybody's going to play. You figure out who's going to start, and then you settle in. 4 games, you can't settle in. So I can see why people say that, but with Justin Fields and that offense and the wide receiving core, puts them, they can play with anybody. I think honestly tomorrow on a neutral field they beat Florida, and I don't know. And Texas A&M, they're probably closer. So, but the fact of the matter is, you also can't pin losses on them that they haven't had. Right. Everybody wants to give it, that Indiana game a loss. It's not. They beat Indiana. Indiana's a pretty good team. So I can see people's argument, but anything lower than 5th, I think you're kidding yourself.
Yeah, I'm with you on that because, like you said, yes, they've only played in 4 games. They're still undefeated. And, I mean, some people are saying it's kind of unfair to both Texas A&M as well as Florida, who are right there at 5 and 6, who both have, Florida have that loss, and then Texas A&M also has lost this season. So, yeah,
but to Alabama.
Yes, right. So I think it's fine if you lose to Alabama. Everyone loses to them.
And I agree. I'm as much as I love the Buckeyes, I'm an open-minded college football fan. Right. I totally see that. Like, those teams are getting punished for playing more games against better teams, and I totally see where, especially Texas A&M, can be like, wait a minute, if Ohio State played Alabama, they'd have a loss too. I totally get that. Florida's going to get their chance, so that's good for Florida. They don't have to worry about it. They get a shot at Alabama if everything goes well, and they win, they're in. So now I would say you'll have when you'll start having your arguments is after the championship games if everything goes good, and if you've got a 1-loss Notre Dame, or Clemson will get in, even a 2-loss Clemson, and then say you've got a 6-win Ohio State that in this Big Ten that's not great, you're going to have some real pushback, and I understand that. And then that's where the fan kicks in that I really don't care. Yeah. Justin Fields, I want to see Justin Fields get a shot in the playoffs, so I'm a little selfish there.
I'm from Georgia actually, so I remember I'm not a Bulldogs fan. I keep it neutral around here, but I know all the Bulldogs fans are just kind of kicking themselves right now. They got JT Daniels finally, but until this past week, everyone was wondering, it's like, man, we really let Justin Fields go. We, Stetson Bennett did as well as anyone thought he could do. Yeah. Being I think 3rd or 4th string guy coming into the season, I'm sure he wasn't expecting the start with JT Daniels injuries and Dwan Mathis, who just got into the transfer portal actually. So for the Georgia quarterbacks, it's been a heck of a season for them, just trying to get everything figured out. But we know the talent that Justin Fields has, and especially I think the key, like you said earlier, the key for Ohio State is their running game. Master Teague is going to have a solid game. I think he's kind of underrated in terms of running backs.
A little bit.
I think a lot of people just don't kind of think of him as one of the upper echelon, because I think about it as this. It's like the quarterback play just gets so hyped up regardless of who you are. Like, look at Clemson. You have Trevor Lawrence, who's going to be the number 1 overall pick going into this year's draft. But then you have Travis Etienne, who's the all-time ACC leading rusher. Yeah. But he's looked at as second fiddle. Yep. So that's just how it is. It's a quarterback league, and that's how it's been for a while now. But I do think this Ohio State team will get the win. But let's not knock off Michigan State. They played Cinderella this year,
and they just played a good game, and that's a team that's coming together. They're learning how to play together. They got a new coaching staff. But they figured it out. Northwestern is a really good defense, and they found a way to score. The issue is if it's a decent track and we have, even if we had the majority of our offensive players, can they score enough? I mean, it's kind of just a rule of thumb that if you got to score 30 against these good teams to even breathe of having a chance, they accidentally score 30 on you. So, if they can come up with some big plays, and we saw Indiana do it, maybe that's the blueprint. I mean, Lombardi will throw it. Right. Like, he will risk it. He's not the best, but he's got moxie, and he will sling it, and he will try to win the game. He will not go down without a fight. So, and those guys scare you when they have nothing to lose.
With a last name like that, I think you got to be able to sling the ball at least a little bit, just with that last name alone. But yeah, like I said, they're 2-3 on the year, but their 2 wins have game against 2 ranked teams. Yeah. They beat Michigan earlier in the year, and Michigan's had just they've had a year. I can say that. I know Harbaugh's that seat's getting a little bit hot for him over there. I know, And then, like you said, they beat Northwestern just this past Saturday.
Yeah.
So they've proved to me that they do have talent. It's just they're still trying to get it put together.
Right.
And I mean, like you said, Rocky Lombardi, great name. He's already thrown for 1,000 yards this season. He's been helping them out. Also, Jalen Naylor on the receiving end's been helping them out with almost 400 yards. And I like Antoine Simmons on the defensive side. He's got 53 tackles.
They always have a good. I forget the name right now. Maybe you have in front of you their cornerback.
Shakir Brown.
Yes, another a good player. It's always funny because we know a lot of these players because there's no polite way to say it. They get a lot of the guys who don't quite make Ohio State,
right?
And those guys come back to haunt us. Michigan State, I don't think this year, but maybe last year, the year before, had the second most players from Ohio next to Ohio State. Like they get a lot of local talent out of here. Well, Mark D'Antonio actually grew up just right down the road from where I'm sitting. Probably.
Oh, okay.
He coached he went to high school about 10 minutes from where I'm talking to you from. So that's very intertwined programs. And then you got even their coach now coached at Ohio State. It's so, there's a common bond between these teams, and we know each other very well. And that's probably part of the rivalry of it.
Yeah, and I mean, Michigan State over their history, they've had a lot of great players come through that system. Okay. And I mean, like you said, it just seems like they always get kind of the second pickings in terms of the recruits, just because, I mean, Ohio State's been a dominant force in college football for as long as I can remember. And Michigan State's no slouch either. It's just that if Ohio State gets the 5-star, Michigan State's going to get the 4 stars.
Exactly.
That's how it's been. And I mean, we've seen, this rivalry has been going on for a long time. Yeah. Michigan State's got some wins. Ohio State's always just seems to kind of edge them out, but it's definitely not an easy game.
No, it never is, and it's a scary game every year. And it's just one of those teams. There's something, they know each other so well, but I think the difference now is Michigan State is still, I don't want to say stuck, but I think they play a little more of an old-fashioned game.
Yeah.
That's just the way they play, and that'll get you a lot of wins. But Ohio State's maybe a different level as far as, like we say, it's a matter of scoring points and speed. Because Ohio State, as far as they score a lot, they actually their time of possession is pretty good for a team that scores as quick as they do. It's just surprising. Everybody assumes they don't manage the clock, but they really do a pretty good job of that. So when you take those possessions away from a team that takes a little longer to score, I mean, that's an uphill battle for Michigan State. But by no means am I sitting here telling you that it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a stat I like to look at too, Jeff, is that who can control the ball the most? Because 9 times out of 10, if you can control the ball for the majority of the game, you're going to get the win. I mean, we always see that there's sometimes that, if you don't have a long possession, that you can get a lot of picks, something like that. That happens all the time in football. But 9 times out of 10, if you can control the ball for the majority of the game through 4 quarters, you're going to get the win. It doesn't matter, if your offense is kind of sputtering one day, or if your defense is not having the best. If you can control that rock, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get that win. And I think that's going to be the key for me.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I do think Ohio State will win this game. I'm not expecting a high-scoring affair. I do think, though, Ohio State, I got them winning by, I'd say 2 to 3 touchdowns. What are your thoughts on that? Who do you think is going to get the win, and how much do you think they're going to win by?
Yeah, I mean, if everything stays the way we see it right now, and we're assuming that, like once again, the starting offense is out there, the defense is pretty good against the run. They're probably a little better than people give them credit for, which is huge, and they're pretty good against this type of passing game. So I'm going to say, 17-point victory, but I don't know that it's going to. Ohio State may barely hit 30 is what I would predict, but I think it's going to be a time of possession. Now, if the running game gets away from Michigan State and we score, and Master Teague scores 5 touchdowns, that could be something happens. I don't think so. I mean, Michigan State can tackle, so we'll see.
It's going to be a highly contested battle at noon this Saturday, and it's going to be on ABC. It's going to be local for a lot of people to watch, and it's going to be a great game. I know I'm going to be sitting down, getting some lunch ready, going to be watching this game and seeing who's going to get the win. Will Michigan State continue that amazing kind of Cinderella story of them knocking off great ranked teams and get 3 wins out of 3 ranked teams, or will Ohio State cruise to victory and keep maintaining that college football playoff spot? We'll have to see, but I'm ready for it, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just happy football is getting played. Hopefully Ohio State can play. But I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the season just to kind of wrap up and just be like, all right, we can wash our hands with it. We say we got through this season, and just kind of look back and reflect, like, what a crazy year this football season was.
I think we all agree with that. I just want to see him play again, man. We have a week off. It felt like I took a loss last week, and just by not seeing him play. So yeah, I'm definitely ready just to watch. That's what
I'm ready, man. But hey, Jeff, do you have anything you'd like to promote to the fans out there about anything you got going on?
Just real quick. First of all, I want to say thanks for having me on. This is a really cool show. I like what you're doing here. And just if you want to hear some more of me, I do Jeff Needs Sports. It's on every podcast platform. I do a lot of live shows exactly like Logan's doing here. You can catch me. And I work for Off the Ball Network. I do some articles. I put out a lot of rankings and things like that. So I appreciate any extra viewers, any extra listens or whatever. But mostly I want to thank these guys for having me on. This is a lot of fun. I love doing guest spots.
Hey, man, it's always the best. Also, guys, if you go check out Jeff's stuff, just let him know that we sent you. Show him some love, guys. I mean, we got to get some of those viewers up over there, man. I know you're ready for it. We're gonna get some of our fans over there. Trust me on that.
I appreciate that.
Well, if you guys enjoyed this show, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe on Facebook, guys. We're doing some great work over here. We put out content daily almost. We got a lot of great videos coming up tonight also. Be sure to check out our podcast as well. Thanks to Believe Podcast Network for checking us out. We are on Spotify as well as Apple, where you guys can listen to the audio experience as well. All these game previews that we're going to be doing tonight will be uploaded later on tonight. We're also going to be having, some player profiles, game previews, legends interviews, just anything you guys can think of that we've been doing over the last couple of months here. Thank you guys for watching us so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. We love all the fan interaction, guys. If you guys want to watch, if you guys want to see a certain player you want us to talk about, if you want to see a certain game, it don't matter what sport it is. Football primarily is what we focus on, but we're also very well versed in baseball, basketball, anything else. Just leave a comment and let us know. But thanks, guys, for watching. Jeff, thank you for coming on the show, man. It was a pleasure having you, and hey, man, I'm throwing it out here. I'd love to get on your show one day.
Absolutely.
Let's do it, man.
Open invite.
There we go. But all right, man. For my guest, Jeff Hunt, I'm your host, Logan Landers. You guys have been watching 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio.